What's up, guys? Get this chat going. I'm still trying to figure out how to use a lot of this stuff. So who is all out there? Trying to pull up the chat. There we go. What's up, Lulu, Brian Donahue, Filth, James, Katie, CW. Gerton the Distance. I was just reading uh, this weird question from Gerton the Distance. Not exactly sure I understand what they were referring to. The streams. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Unfortunately, I'm having to use the microphone on the computer instead of my podcast mic, which is what I want to use. But when I did that the other day, it took me hours yesterday resetting it up and getting it dialed back in so I could record a video. So it's looking all choppy though, huh? What the hell, man? Hold on, let me. My internet is not the greatest connection right now. But hello, Vanity and Terry, Carlo, Enolt, Paul, Crawford, Joe, Cheryl, Thomas. How are you guys all doing today? You guys good? I got some exciting news that I will share in a little bit when everybody's kind of posted up in here. You guys got your questions ready for me? Some weird ones. Like I said, I want, like, the weirder the better. I will try my best to answer them, even if they're weird. Welcome aboard, Jane. Glad you subscribed and you're here. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I dig this shirt too. I think it's actually from Spirit of Halloween. I've had it a long time. It's one of the first I ever actually wore in a video on this channel. What's up, Dark Horizons and Mike? So save your questions until for a few more minutes, and then we'll get going on some questions. And make sure that you ask your questions with the word question starting it out, so that when I'm scanning through the chat, I can see your question and get to it when I get a chance. Otherwise, I lose track of questions too easy, and it's too hard to follow everything. My OBS is being all weird though. Like, I'm trying to get it to, like, it doesn't want to show me the chat for some reason this time. But whatever. As long as you guys can see me and hear me okay, I'll just use my phone right here to follow along. laying in bed eating pretzels, digging the live streams. Hey, Amanda. Or, hey, Amanda. All right. So, are you guys ready to hear my exciting news? No, my foot is not better. It's going to be a long time before it's better. Um, but it did at least show signs of healing this week when I saw the podiatrist, so that's a big deal. And so it just basically means no swimming for me, no running for me, no doing much of anything this summer. So that's okay. It means I just have to focus on channel related things. Um, so my big announcement for I think it's exciting, and I'll explain more why. Here, I'm gonna post it in the comments and then pin it. So I officially have a legit sponsor, and it's cool because I'm working with this company that'll basically find me multiple sponsors and send them my way. But the first one is called Keen. And it's a psychic reading type of thing. But I really dig it. I tried it out today for the first time, and it's cool because it does so much. Because I'm kind of what you would call like open-minded, but not a big believer in the psychic phenomenon and stuff like that. But I love what they do because it's almost like an OnlyFans type of page, but for psychics. So you can go through and read what each one has to say, what they specialize in, their ratings. Each one has a little bit different price per minute. But if you click on my link and go, you get 10 minutes for only $1.99. And they range in prices, so that's like a pretty cool deal because they range in prices from like $3 a minute to like $10 a minute. But no matter which one you choose, it's $1.99 a minute. But I get money from that. So as long as you do the whole 10 minutes, then I get money from each person that does that. And it's super exciting because not only does it mean like the channel's got like this more legit status, getting our first real sponsor, but it pushes the channel into the goals of what I'm really wanting to accomplish, and that's I really want to start traveling and taking you guys with me places. So this is kind of like step one in making that happen because right now I'm barely being able to eat, but once this and things like this start coming through, it means I'll be able to put money towards taking trips and going places and showing you guys all these different horror locations all over the United States and going to conventions and just cool things like that. Like the sky's the limit on what we'll be able to accomplish in that way. And something like this is a huge step in that direction. Not only that, it just takes a lot of stress off my back because once I'm able to just focus on the channel and not so much on money and surviving, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be like really honest with you guys. Like I've been struggling. It's not been easy. Like with the stuff going on with my foot and my health, and then on top of that, having to start doing this full time and not having a way to make money in any other way, it's been really stressful. And I've been trying my best to stay positive and to keep putting out videos for you guys. And these lives have been helping me mentally a lot too, because I'm a pretty lonely person. Like I don't really hang out with anybody. I don't go do anything. I don't have the money to go do anything. But not just that, I don't really have a friend group right now. So this Sunday, I'm really excited. Hopefully I'll be able to go. But the Sinister Creature Con convention, the horror convention, is here in town. And so I'm hoping to be able to afford to go on Sunday. And there's other creators like my buddy Boogeyman Ben, who's got a YouTube channel and like the most amazing collection of horror memorabilia. It's incredible. He's going to be there, so I'm going to try to go and meet up with him. but hopefully I'll be able to raise some money. So like if any of you guys want to help me out, it would go a long way. But my Patreon is the way to help me out immediately, as well as the PayPal and Venmo. When you donate to the channel, it takes like over a month before I get it. And so in the long run, that's still going to help me, and that's huge. But those are direct ways. So my goal is to be able to go this Sunday to Sinister Creature Con and then do a live from there. And so that way we can do a live feed and you guys can see Sinister Creature Con with me and hopefully get to hang out with some of the creators and talk to some different people. Maybe even get an actor. I don't know. We'll see. I've never tried to do anything like that before. So, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, if anybody can help me out at all, or you know, that would be amazing. It's weird and really uncomfortable for me to even say this, but I really want to be able to go Sunday and do a live from there and have a good time and not be super stressed out. And it's kind of like the beginning of this traveling thing that I want to do with the channel, where I take you guys with me and we go to different horror conventions and different horror stuff, as well as continuing to do the same content I do. But the goal is to do the content I do kind of thing from different locations as I travel around and we see different crazy horror stuff together. So that's my goal. But this sponsorship is a big deal in that direction. And then on top of that, I have another sponsor that I can't say who they are yet. But in this coming Wednesday's video, hopefully the ad will be in there. And in the middle of making my first like ad read, and it's exciting, but it's so nerve-wracking. Like I've never done anything like this before, but I'm excited. And oh, I got super. Thank you so much, Danny in Asheville. Here, Ghost P, let me buy you a pizza. Go eat. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's awesome. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. But it's weird doing these ad reads, like, because they kind of give you a thing you can say. You know, you can either just kind of read their thing they write, their script, but I didn't want to read it verbatim. So I'm kind of trying to make my own version of it and do just some different things. But this is a product that I'm super excited about, and it's a really affordable thing that I think you guys are going to really enjoy. I can't talk about it yet, though, because I haven't, like, the contract signed. It's a done deal. I just have to do the ad, and you guys will see in next Wednesday's video. But I hate to come at you guys with all these money things. So, like, I'm not wanting to be that kind of channel. So I want you guys to know why I'm doing this stuff and why it's so important, because it really is going to go a huge way into helping me create the kind of channel that I think you guys want and the kind of channel I think you guys deserve. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Cheryl. You're amazing. But yeah, so the sponsor things are exciting. So I hope you guys understand that I'm not trying to turn this into some huge money hungry type of operation, because it's not that at all. If I could do this and not have to worry about the money part, I'm not trying to get rich off this. I really just love you guys and love doing what we're doing here. So anyway, so let's get to some comments. The weirder, the better. Like I said, I want to hear some weird stuff and creative. So come up with some creative questions, and make sure you write the word question to start out your question so that I can scroll through the chat and make sure I'm reading each one. I'm going to go grab a Rockstar. I'll be right back. Oh, and then also tomorrow for all channel members and for patrons, I'm gonna post up tomorrow morning, maybe later tonight, but by tomorrow morning at the latest, I'm gonna post a link that'll be for Discord. And at 5 p.m. tomorrow night, Pacific Standard Time, so that's 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we're gonna do a movie night. And I don't want to tell you guys what movie yet. I've had a bunch of suggestions. I have a couple. I'm not sure which one yet, but I think you guys are gonna have fun. With whichever I choose. But yeah. So tomorrow night. So make sure that you guys are paying attention. If you're a Patreon a member or a channel member, make sure you're paying attention to the community tomorrow, because I'm going to post a link in the community feed as well as on Patreon. I'm going to post a link there. So both places. But it should be a lot of fun. But let's get into some questions. Make sure you write the word question and then your question. And I want the weird questions. I want you guys to get weird and creative. I scrolled back away so I can. Okay. Katie F writes, question: how did you come to wear your awesome eye patch, my friend? So when I was very little, I think I was like 6, I got this eye infection, and it's kind of stems from it was basically a sinus infection, like an allergic sinus infection in the springtime. And my mom, this is kind of graphic and a little bit gross, so I don't hopefully freak you guys out, but my mom was very cultish, religious, and didn't believe in modern medicine, and so refused to take me to the doctors. The infection got worse and worse to the point where it was pushing my eye like out of the socket. This was like swollen up like the size of a baseball, and it was just full of pus. And I was about to lose my eye, but she still didn't take me to the doctor, so she got a needle and sanitized it, like took a lighter to it, got it all, disinfected, I guess, and then popped the eyelid that was like super stretched out, popped it, and all this mucus pus or whatever started pouring out. It saved my eye, but unfortunately by that point, everybody's eyes are like this, right? There's a tendon that holds them together. Sorry, this finger doesn't go straight. But in my case, it stretched it out. So I could only look straight with one eye at a time. And I don't know why, but I chose to use this eye as my predominant eye because I see double of everything when my eyes are open. But then as years have gone by, using this eye less and less and less, it's gotten virtually blind. So now all it sees is bright colors and light, and I don't see nothing really at all except for that, and it's just really distracting because it's kind of like two things laid on top of each other. So if this eye is not covered with a patch like this, then it's like I'm seeing these bright flashy lights and stuff in front of this eye. It's hard to explain unless you experience it. And even when I don't wear this eye is pretty much always closed because of that. And so I just started wearing the patch because, especially when it's bright out and whatever, it's easier to not have to hold this eye shut. It's just that light and nothing gets past that. It doesn't distract me. It doesn't bother my vision, and etc. So it's a real patch, and it's I don't wear it for show. I actually wear it for, because it helps me. And then it's just kind of become my thing. Okay. Filth 303 has a question. Is High Life any good? I loved High Life. It's not for everyone. It's very much an A24 slow burn, really artsy movie that takes its time getting into it. But it was on my top 10 space horror movie list. That's how much I love that movie. I think it's a beautiful movie, and Mia Goth is fantastic in it. It's just a great cast, a real limited cast, a small budget. I've heard a lot of people talk shit about the special effects, or really lack thereof, and the props and whatever, because they're really, it's a super, super micro budget movie. But I think if you look past it, I almost saw it as a play. And like when you go to a play, you don't worry about the props. You don't worry about, if everything, like if you're wearing a spacesuit, you don't worry if it looks super real or authentic, because it's really about the story and the dialogue and all of that. And that's what High Life is. It's a movie it's that. It's not about like big special effects and all of that. But I think it's a fantastic movie. Okay, looking for. I'm so glad you guys understand and are excited for the sponsor too, because I really want it to be about. It's more than just me. Okay, looking for questions. All right, Thomas Bays wrote, as a kid, I watched The Brood, where the kids had no navels. I would measure my navel with my finger to make sure it wasn't shrinking. Has a movie ever made you do something really weird? I don't know what movie it was that caused this. So I don't know where it comes from, but for the longest time, I had a thing. If I would be in the bathroom, especially if I went to the bathroom, I would have to make sure and open the shower and look inside and make sure that there was no one in the bathtub, in the shower. And I don't even know what that was from. I don't even know if it was from watching a movie when I was little or where I got that from. But it had to have been from a movie. I mean, I can't see any other way I would come up with something like that. But I was so terrified of the shower curtain being closed. That's the only one that really jumps to mind, though. But I'm sure there was other silly ones. I didn't watch a ton of movies as a kid because, like I said, when I was talking about my mom was very much like a cultish, religious, like overzealous, like it was pretty abusive upbringing. But one of the things is we didn't have TV really. Like we got to, for little periods of time, we would get to watch some Disney movies, and then she would get rid of the TV again. And then when I got a little older, I would go over to friends' houses and I started to get to watch horror movies and action movies and things like that. But when I was like first growing up, I didn't get to see, a lot of the movies that you guys got to see growing up. So I didn't have as much affect me as a little kid. Let's see here. I know, I wish all you guys were out here so I just had friends to go eat pizza with. I would love to hang out with you guys. That's part of the big reason I want to travel. Like I really want to be able to meet everybody and see all these amazing horror fans that get to actually see you guys, and so you're more than just a name in the chat box. Okay, KDF wrote, how do I become a channel member? There's a button right down there that should say join. And you just click on it and it takes you through. I think I have it like $3. Or if you want to become a Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Sorry. There's a link down in the description to become a channel member. And Patreon, there's a level that's only $1. So, I mean, like, really, it's whatever you can afford. I just want it to be a community over there that's even tighter than this here. It's like just the real diehard people that are really feeling what I've got going on here, so we can do movie nights and things like that over there. And eventually I'm going to start doing some movie nights over here. Maybe like one a month is what I was thinking would be fun. But first I got to get started. And so unfortunately the channel members and Patreon members got to be my guinea pigs before, so I can fix the bugs and get it right. Because I'm really nervous about it. Like, I know it sounds stupid, but I'm really nervous on how well that I'll be able to do the movie like I want. Paul Pedrick wrote, favorite film from The Disturbing Iceberg. I haven't seen like probably a ton of movies that, like, because there's like the hardcore underground disturbing movies. Like a lot of people don't even know about them. I don't even know a lot of them. A friend of mine had, I forget what he called it was his second channel. He runs Bloodbath and Beyond, but he had a second channel, but I forget what it's called. But that's all they did was like focus on the real hardcore crazy stuff. Martyrs is probably my favorite of a pretty hardcore movie. But that's probably not even what a lot of people consider to be hardcore. Yeah, make sure if you're asking a question, you write the word question first so that I can see your question. Joe wrote, Kanan, at Amanda, Was asking for your Venmo. So yeah, the my Venmo and my Patreon are at the bottom of the screen. If you look down at, let's see, look all backwards. Yeah, right there. That's the Venmo, and then right there, that's the Patreon link. And you guys are amazing. Like anybody that donates anything, I see I have a bunch of like donations I gotta get to. I'm trying to just not lose track of the questions. Hellbeast18 wrote, "How fine is Samantha Robinson in The Love Witch?" I think she's gorgeous. I actually didn't really like that movie when I first saw it. It was like too slow and weird. I couldn't even quite put my finger on why I didn't like it. And then it was on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob and Darcy, and so I rewatched it, and man, I love that movie now. It's so there's something that's just so like beautiful and full and rich and creative and just weird. Like I love that movie now. Let's see. What's the most disturbing movie you've watched and will never watch again? It's probably Martyrs again. I don't know. Like I know there's lots of disturbing movies, but it just jumped to mind. Martyrs was the one that was really hard to watch. It was one of the only ones I've ever watched that felt hard to watch. It felt like you got to earn that movie. Question, not really, but wanted you to know I sent you money via Venmo. Amanda, you're amazing. You're already one of my biggest patrons. You don't need to send me anything, but I very much appreciate it. And then I promise you guys, anybody that donates anything, make sure you watch the stream on Sunday. I'll try to see if I can write down and mention you guys in the live stream on Sunday from Sinister Creature Con. But no matter what, you'll know that you're the reason I'm there, being able to enjoy being there and meeting people, like getting to meet other, hopefully, creators, and just being in that environment. Something to do, get me out of the house. Question from Zion. Any suggestions? I don't know what you mean. I suggest movies every week. Every single Wednesday I post a video that's a recommendation, and I have one coming up this Wednesday that'll be on Tubi. So I got some ones that I think are fantastic for this coming week. So, but I have over 300 and something videos. I don't even know how many videos I have, but there's lots and lots and lots of suggestions. Brian Donahue wrote, question, if Star Trek were a slasher, who makes the better serial killer? Kurt or... Oh, it's Spock all day. Like, as much as I love Spock, there's a creepiness about that dude. I always thought there was something creepy about him. And he just feels like if he really needed to, he would just be like a mad assassin, like just tearing up people. Dan Miller wrote, do you love Dog Soldiers as much as I absolutely adore Dog Soldiers. In my top 10 werewolf movies, it was pretty high up there, and I talk more about it, but I love that movie so much. And like after doing that, the director, I think it was the director or producer reached out to me and said thank you for talking about it, and then also told me they're working on a sequel. So hopefully Dog Soldiers 2 gets done sooner rather than later. Okay, Zion wrote, question, any suggestions on satanic devil movies aside from Exorcist, The Witch, Suspiria, House of the Devil? I love House of the Devil. It's one of Ty West's earlier movies, and if you're a fan of Ty West stuff at all, like the creepy stillness of the evil that's presented in that movie is fantastic. And just the way he captures that 1980s feeling is just badass. Love that movie. All right. Thank you so much, Katie F., for your super thanks. Thank you so much for answering my question. I'm so sorry you went through that. Much love and sent, my friend. Congratulations on your sponsorship. Thank you so much. I'm just going to read off these real quick. Marianne Conti sent $10. Brett's Outdoor Experience sent $9.99. Thank you guys. You're amazing. And then welcome aboard, Cheryl, for becoming a channel member. You guys are awesome. All right, let me see if I get back to where I was at on the questions. I love how much the channel members have been growing. Like, it's crazy. And the patrons. Like, we're over 50 members, I think, on both. Like, each one is, like, over 50. Okay. Hell Beast wrote, question. Favorite cult movies? It's got to be Wicker Man, right? I mean, the original Wicker Man is amazing. It's like it's as bad as the remake was. The original was incredible. But I really enjoyed what was the movie I just recently recommended? I forget the name now, but I love cult movies. I'm trying to think. Like, I really there's so many. There's just something it's just really cool about when they're done right. There's few things to me that are more creepy than like a really obsessed, insane cult movie. What's that Ty West one? Sacrament. Sacrament is a hell of a cult movie. It's not the fun cult movies because it's based on a real event, the Jonestown Massacre and stuff. But still, as far as a cult movie goes, it's incredible. And just showing the way people can really get sucked into that belief system without even realizing it's like you're already sucked in. Joe wrote, here's a weird question for you. Have you ever watched the cartoon series The Venture Brothers? Yes, but I can't really remember it because it's been a long time. A lot of pop culture references. I keep wanting to kind of go back and revisit it because my memory, I don't know what it's from, but I don't have the greatest memory. I do remember really enjoying it, but I never was like a big watcher of it. But when I had cable, which was quite a long time ago now, I would watch it on Cartoon Network some. Paul Piersnick wrote, thank you so much for your $9 donation. You guys are amazing. Let's see. I lost track. But yeah, I really need to. I need to start watching cartoons again. There's something about cartoons that just is so cathartic. I know the one cartoon that always just gave me this peaceful feeling. Besides Scooby Doo, I still watch Scooby Doo like when I go to bed a lot of times. But I love Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's another cartoon that I, for so many years, used to go to bed watching that cartoon. I wish I still had it. I don't know where it's streaming. Coravorn, $5 donation. Thank you so much. And he wrote, favorite horror revenge movie. I watched Mandy the other day and it is fantastic. Keep up the good work, man. Yeah, Mandy's amazing. But, what is my favorite revenge movie? I'm not sure. I know that in my head, my first thought was Revenge. I just mentioned it on my list this week, on my Shudder list this week. It's like so vibrant and colorful, and it's very much like Last House on the Left, but it has so much more style, and the gore and everything is just, it's really cranked up. Like I said in that video, it reminds me of a music video, like a metal music video. So that's like the first one to come to brain. I don't know if I would say, yeah, Spit on Your Grave is another one that's amazing. You were just talking about a good rape revenge movie. Yeah, that's Revenge, I believe, right? Am I thinking of a different... Hold on, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. It's the one I just talked about this week on my Shudder list. But now I'm spacing on the name of the movie. Bringing up my notes to see what I talked about this week. See, like I said, my memory is garbage. Revenge, yeah. Revenge is the movie that I was thinking of. It's so good. If you haven't seen Revenge on Shudder, like it's such a fucked up topic, but It handles it well, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I went and saw Flash last night. Like I've seen everything, like everything that's in theaters right now. I've watched because I go to the drive-ins a couple times a week. But I saw Flash last night. I saw Transformers the other day. I saw The Blackening. Um, yeah, I'm probably gonna go see that animated movie that's out right now. You're thinking about buying Transformers the movie, like the new one? I don't know if the new one is available to buy right now. The new movie, the new Transformers movie, it felt very like angled towards littler kids more than the ones in the past. At least that was my take on it, and it was fun, but it felt a lot closer to like the cartoon, which they were great when you were a kid, but if you rewatch the cartoon now, you're just like, ooh, like the cringy dialogue and stuff that you're just like, ah, that doesn't really hold up that well. Oh, you're talking about buying the animated series, yeah. I love Thundercats, man. Thundercats is still my jam. I have somewhere like the box sets of the first two seasons, and then He-Man, of course. I had so many He-Man toys at one point. Not too long ago, I had to sell all my action figures and stuff. I had a bunch of them, but they were just sitting in the storage, and I needed to come up with some money. And they're just like, there's a point where you're like, I got this sitting here, and you're not doing anything with it because I live in a room. I don't even where I'm to display them. So, okay, question from Brian Donahue. You're on Gilligan's Island, and you're a demented psychotic murderer. Who do you kill first? Man, I probably kill. Ooh, yeah, I probably kill Mrs. Howell, Mr. Howell or Mrs. Howell, one of the two of them, because they're fucking annoying, and they expect to be like weighted on hand and foot. They're not helpful. They do almost nothing to help the group. They're really just kind of like, I mean, if you have no choice but to kill someone, like I'm not gonna purposely just go and kill a bunch of people on Gilligan's Island, but if I have to kill someone, those two are just like heavy bags of meat that do nothing. Thomas wrote, question. My daughters laugh at me. Stop moving. My daughters laugh at me because I like. Oh, the chat keeps moving and it's hard for me to read. Because I like movies like Mean Girls and Bring It On. Do you have a movie that is a guilty pleasure? Um, I don't know if I have a movie really, but just in general, you find yourself sometimes like wanting to just watch something that's not all that serious. So mine is more not movies per se, but I'll watch like stupid reality TV sometimes or something like that I generally don't really necessarily like, but sometimes you want something that's less serious and you just especially when you're really overloaded or stressed or whatever. Um, but I don't know. I never really think of things though as like a guilty pleasure per se because if you like something, you like something. Like you shouldn't be embarrassed about what you like. Everybody likes different weird shit. I don't like Britney Spears or In Sync, but I know a lot of people that do, and that's fine. It's like whatever. Like we're all different people that enjoy different things. That's what I'm always talking about with movies. Is like I hate that attitude of like there's something wrong with you if you know, like, oh, so and so likes this movie that I think is garbage, so then they have garbage taste. It's like, no, there's just like the most recent Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, it was my guilty pleasure. I'm like, why? It was a fun movie. It was a stupid movie. Like, was it a super high quality movie? Not really, but there's no shame in enjoying it and watching it. Like, it's, you know, everybody's different. You don't have to, like, welcome aboard, KDF. Welcome to the crew. Yeah, I mean, if think about it, if we all liked exactly the same things, like, that's what makes art. That's what makes creativity, because we all accumulate these different things that we like and then we put them together. So, like, if there wasn't some guy that likes metal and also likes Britney Spears, you wouldn't get, I don't know, some band that who am I thinking of? Sleep Token. You know what I mean? Like, Sleep Token, because they like pop music and they like metal, they took the two together and they came out with this amazing music. Like, at least in my opinion, I think it's amazing, and it's because they like these very different things. So yeah, I'm not a fan really of that guilty pleasure. Like, dude, if you like fucking Mean Girls, like Mean Girls. Don't apologize to people for that shit. If you like it. Yeah, Thundercats. Ho! I have a replica sword, like a full-size sword in storage. It's got the all-seeing eye things that come up on it, like full-on replica, full-size sword. It's really cool. Someday, when I get my own apartment or house or whatever, I'm going to have stuff like that finally displayed again. Question from Dark Horizons. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I was just wondering who your top 3 horror movie villains are. Top 3 horror villains. Got to be Tall Man. Probably Freddy Krueger. Like, it's so hard without, like, going through everybody, so I just kind of got to go what's top of, you know, pops into my brain first, but doesn't mean that's really what it would be. But first in mind is definitely Tall Man, Freddy Krueger. Man. Oh, it's so hard now because I love Michael Myers. I love Jason. You know what? Oh, man, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go with Michael Myers. And it's so hard because if I were to redo that list, I could come up with something different every time. Because, oh, Candyman, I forgot about Candyman. I love Candyman. Yeah, we'll just go with that. But yeah, it would change so many times no matter how many times I do that list. Let's see. Amanda wrote, question, what are your expectations for the new Freddy and Exorcist movies coming up? Okay, well, did I miss something? Is there a new Freddy movie coming out? Was that announced today? I've been so busy doing with this sponsor stuff. It could have happened and I just didn't see the latest news. Okay, I'm looking through the news. I don't see anything about a new Freddy movie. Can you guys tell me in the comments, like, does anybody know anything about a new Nightmare on Elm Street? It would be about damn time, but I don't see anything, and I haven't heard anything. The new Exorcist, I'm gonna see it, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also not expecting much from it because I just wasn't a huge fan of David Gordon Green's Halloween. Like, I loved it from the beginning, like 2018's Halloween I thought was awesome, and I was like, this could be the most amazing series. And then it was like, as it went, it just got worse and worse and worse, because I really disliked, the third one. Kills had some things I enjoy, but then yeah, it just lost me after that. So I mean, we'll see. I just don't have the most faith in the world from David Gordon Green, but and then the little things I have heard about the synopsis and stuff, I'm like, it's kind of weird. But I try not to overjudge something, especially when I haven't even seen a trailer yet. Jennifer's Body or The Babysitters? Jennifer's Body all day. Love Jennifer's Body. Such a good movie. Such an underrated movie. Love the channel. Tell us more about your life. I am an open book. If you want to know more about me, ask a question. I don't know what to talk about. Like, that's why I always ask you guys to ask me questions, because I'm, down to talk to you guys, tell you whatever, get to know you better. I just don't know off the top of my head what to talk about. Brian Donahue, Heavy Bags of Meat inspired this. You're marooned with Bob Barker, Pat Sajak, and Alex Trebek. Supplies have run out, and you are in a location with no resources. Who gets devoured first? Oh, that's easy, man. That's Pat Sajak. That guy has always annoyed the crap out of me. And Alex Trebek, of course, would be the last to go, because I love that guy. Like, he was one of those few celebrities that I was really, really sad when he died. Like, he just seemed like such a genuinely sweet person. What's up, Evil Roy? I haven't seen you in a minute. You heard Sam Raimi is remaking Magic. That could be super dope. Anything Raimi does, I'm excited about. I love Sam Raimi. He's just got such a fun, quirky style to him. Question from Serena Smash. When is your birthday? My birthday is December 10th. So December 10th is my birthday, and that is when I turn 1 year closer to the grave for old men. No. I'm old, but, we're all old. I'm okay with my age. It's the falling apart body that I have a problem with. Mark wrote, question, what was your first live concert? My first live concert was 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson. And I want to say it was like 95, 94, 95. And it's crazy because nobody had any idea who Marilyn Manson was. Oh, it was Jim Rose Circus, Marilyn Manson, and 9 Inch Nails. No one had any idea who Marilyn Manson was then. And we were all standing in line. And you got to remember, we didn't have phones. We weren't sitting there looking on the internet and looking up people. So, it was literally just rumors flooding through the crowd of people talking about who he was. And we were guessing, what was this going to be? Is it going to be, someone in drag? Like, what is this? And we were just mind blown. Like, it was like nothing I had ever seen before. I remember leaving the concert and loving 9 Inch Nails. I knew what to expect from 9 Inch Nails. I had watched Ozfest 94 and saw his famous Ozfest performance. So I was very aware of what, Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails were like live. But no one had seen Marilyn Manson. None of us had a clue. And I don't even think they had a music video of any kind out yet. This was like right in the very beginning of Marilyn Manson. But their set opens with someone walking through the crowd swinging incense, like a Catholic religion incense thing. And it was just the most bizarre, like, lighting, and it was insane. He comes out and he has a fake big old giant black dick, swinging it around. He's got like a rib cage tattooed on him, and we all thought it was real. No one, because you're ways back in the lights and everything, so it looked like he had a real rib cage tattooed on the outside, which I've always thought would be such a badass tattoo to have this tattooed on the outside. But anyway, yeah, that concert was incredible. It's one of my favorite memories from being a teenager. Okay. Hellbeast wrote, have you seen any other Luck McKee movies other than May? Like All Cheerleaders Die, The Woman, Tales of Halloween. I've seen Tales of Halloween. I don't remember it very well. I know it was pretty low budget, but I do remember enjoying it. Isn't it an anthology? It has like, yeah, I enjoyed like some of the segments of it. But I don't think I've seen any of his other movies. I mean, May is incredible. I love the movie May. It's so weird and quirky. Yeah, I love classic cartoons. That would be a fun like second channel to talk about classic cartoons. But I think when I make a second channel, it will be just reviews of mainstream movies. You know, like because I already saw Flash, I already saw Transformers. Like I see all the movies, and I don't really talk about them. Dark Horizons wrote, if you could meet any horror icon, who would it be? For me, it would be Robert Englund and Doug Bradley. Um, I'm not someone that's really trying to meet anybody. Like, I would love to actually meet people, so like actually work with them in some way. But if you notice, like I've had offers, lots of offers to do interviews on the channel with different people. Like I don't, that's not, it's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to meet people. I'm not trying to interview people. So it's more like when I met Bruce Campbell. It was just a weird situation. I was with my sister working at a convention. She had dressed me up as a zombie, and I was just walking the floor, and I'm heading to the restroom, and he's coming out of the restroom, and I ended up talking to him for a little bit because he was making a joke, and we ended up just his booth was like right over there, and there was no one in line yet. I don't think he had opened his line up yet or whatever, but we ended up chit chatting for a little bit. He was just a cool guy, and it wasn't like, ooh, can I get your autograph? I didn't get a picture. Like that's never been my thing. I don't ask for autographs. I don't get pictures with people. Like I would get a picture with someone, but only when it's like I'm working with them on something or whatever. Like I don't. It's just not really my thing. Like it's not something I collect. So if I met someone, it would just be more like I would love to work with. Like I would love to work with different people. Like Joe Bob would be, and Darcy. They would be really cool to somehow work with on some in some way. I would love to get to have a sit down, like have coffee with someone like John Carpenter, so that kind of thing. Like, who would I want to sit down and have coffee with? It's different. But if it's just like meeting them, like at an autograph convention, yeah, it's not really my jam. I hope that makes sense. Where are all the weird questions? You guys, nobody's super creative or something. Like their questions, like bring them. What movie would you? Let's see. The Canuck Nomad wrote, or Nomad. The Canuck Nomad question: what would you love to rewrite the ending to, and who would get them to kill off as a bonus? The movie's killer. I would love to rewrite. I mean, there's probably a lot of other movies that I'd rather if I really was to sit down and go through everything and think about it. But off the top of my head, I would love to rewrite Halloween Ends because I feel like, but I don't know if it would just be the end of that movie or if it'd just be the whole damn thing. But it's just not the way I wanted to see that series end at all. At all. Like seeing Michael Myers go out with a whimper, it just makes no sense. Like their showdown did not feel like a real showdown. Like it's 2 against 1. He's all busted up and not really this, amazing Michael Myers anymore. Can you guys still see me? Did the stream stop? says I still have connection, so hopefully you guys can still hear me. Question: would you get plugged back into the Matrix or live in the post-apocalyptic wasteland? It's the worst thing about myself is I would have to just live with the way it is, even though it would be a better life to be plugged in. I'd rather have the truth. No matter how hard the truth is, I'd always rather feel like I know, because there would always be something like, nagging in the back of my head or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's something I didn't know. Like something was... Yeah, my light. See, anyway, so yeah, I would have to know the truth, I don't know why on my phone, man, the connection is jacked. Yeah, I've talked about the eye patch many times, but to make a long story short, basically had a severe eye infection as a kid. It caused it to become a severe lazy eye, which then ultimately this eye wasn't used enough and eventually went blind. And so now there's just really blobby, bright lights, and it lays over the other eye. So I wear the patch so that it's not distracting, and because it doesn't see anything anyway, and the eyes aren't lined up. It's like if I'm looking at you straight with this eye, then the other one's way over here. So, and it doesn't see anything, so it's just a distracting, annoying mess. So, and yes, like Vanity said, please write the word question before your question. Otherwise, it's hard for me to find them. I'm glad you did catch it, Brett. Welcome to the live stream. All right, question from M. Have you ever seen the documentary called Cropsy? Yeah, it's incredible. I recommended it on an Amazon list, I think a couple times. As far as documentaries go, it is so creepy and scary, but yet it's absolutely real. Like, it's one of my favorite documentaries, actually. If you've never seen Cropsy, that's an incredible documentary. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. And if anybody missed the news, joining on board now, I'm super excited. The channel got its first legit sponsor. I pinned the comment, and it's tarot. It's all these different kinds of readings. Like, my favorite part of the website is I found one it's like it just gives you wisdom. It just gives you like life wisdom. You basically tell them your scenario that you're in, and if you can get some life advice. So it's all these different types of helpful things, but it's different types of psychic or clairvoyant, mediums, things like that. And I'm not even a big believer in that. I'm very skeptical, but the way the website works and the way they are, it's really a cool company. Like, I had my first reading, and it actually went sideways. It just was not, I was not happy with it. And I was thinking, great, I just, wasted my one chance. And yet, without even, like, they have such great customer service, like, this thing pops up, and I rated it, and they were like, hey, we're just going to give you over half of what it cost you back because you didn't have a great experience with it. And I was like, that was awesome. I didn't even have to ask for it. So it's actually a really cool company. So that's my big news. I'm trying to raise money. That's why my Patreon and Vimeo are listed. I'm trying to go to Sinister Creature Con on Sunday, and it just hopefully meet some other creators, but just to get out and bring you guys with me. The goal is to take you guys and do a live there so you guys can kind of see it too, and have fun on Sunday with that. But also the goal of the channel is to be able to travel and meet you guys and do things all across the country. And so that's why a sponsor like this is such a big deal. So if you have a chance to go to that link you got to finish 10 minutes. You got to go full 10 minutes in for me to get credit. But then I'll get my share, my kickback of it, and it'll really help push the channel into a position where I don't have to stress so much on money, and I can afford to take some trips and go up to Seattle and visit horror things, or go to New Orleans like my dream is to go to some of the cemeteries there and do one of my list from one of those cemeteries, like just cool shit like that. Anyway, back to questions. Question from Mark. Would you get plugged? Would you get plugged back? I already read that one. Good night, Vanity. All right, question from Joe Running. If you were being stalked by either Alan... sorry, I can't read. It's moving and my eyesight sucks. If you were behind... Stop moving. Okay, if you were being stalked by either Alien or Predator, which do you think you'd have the best chance of surviving and why? Alien. And I honestly don't think I have much chance at all of surviving either. But I think I have better chances at surviving Alien, because Alien is more of an animal, so it is more instinctual based. Even though it is kind of a perfect killing machine, so is Predator, but Predator is also cunning and like a human. So, I mean, it's a really, really close one, but I think if I had any chance at all, it would be against the Alien. I mean, if you think about it, like Sigourney Weaver, Ripley survives Alien, and I mean, she's amazing, but I don't know if I would say she's as hardcore and badass as Arnold, and Arnold barely survived against Predator, and a bunch of other super badass dudes died to Predator, so I don't know, it's probably about as even as you're going to get, but that would be my best guess on it. I don't smoke weed. I do a little bit of edible, like CBD stuff mostly. I don't drink because of my diabetes being like so bad. I have a really bad case of diabetes. I was born with it. I can't drink. It makes me extremely sick, and because of my mental problems I'm always dealing with, smoking weed kind of fucks with me. So I don't really do that either. I used to smoke a lot of weed though. Question: the patient from board game Operation develops artificial intelligence and becomes self-aware. What happens next? What happens next? He starts doing surgery on all of us. He makes us into a board game. Can you picture that? A bunch of the Operation dudes standing around, all of us are like pinned down and doing an operation on us. Stone Lord question: did you go to film school? Nope. I'm just like the rest of you. I just love movies. Just enjoy watching them. I watch a lot of movies. But I would like to maybe take some film classes more. I did take one sorta like many, many years ago. I can't say I even took one. I sat in on it for a little bit because my friend was going there, and it was a big school, and they didn't care that I sat in on the classes, and so I just enjoyed them, but I don't remember anything from it. But I also watch a lot of documentaries and read about things like articles, and like study a lot of stuff too. So I don't play any instruments. I sing. I was a singer in a metal band for many, many, many years, a couple different metal bands. I can at least, I can't really play guitar, but I can at least kind of work with another guitar player to help write some stuff, if that makes sense. But my hands have been fucked up for a long time, so like they're just not made for playing guitar. Question from Amanda. If serial killers were just a written character in a horror movie, which serial killer would have the scariest horror movie? What? Okay, I'm lost on that one. If serial killers just a written character in a horror movie, which oh, I see what you mean, like real serial killers. Who would be the scariest in a movie? I think it just kind of depends on like what you consider to be super scary. Because like Green River Killer or BTK, like they're not really scary people. They don't really look super scary, but the things they did were so like awful. But Chikatilo is probably the scariest, and he also has that movie that I've recommended before, Ghoul, that's on Tubi. If you've never seen it, it's kind of found footagey, and it's fucking incredible because it incorporates a real serial killer. Like the guy that movie's about was a real guy, and he really did kill like 45, I think. It's like 45 women. Like he was just fucking so savage, and just something about that guy, besides the fact that he killed me, was so creepy and scary. No, I don't think Berkowitz was very scary at all. He was just this pudgy little weird dude. He used the element of surprise. I think Zodiac is a pretty scary horror character. But like I said, it's just all. I don't really think Gacy would be that scary. I mean, I guess if you're scared of clowns, but the whole clown thing with Gacy, it's kind of funny. It's like overplayed because it wasn't like he ran around dressed up as a clown killing people. Like he never once killed anybody wearing a clown, at least not that we know of. He just did children's parties, but he also did a whole bunch of other stuff and dressed up as a cowboy, and like, you know, he did all these costume parties, and like, so it wasn't like he was always dressed up as a clown. It's just because people are creeped out by clowns, he's been kind of attached to that. But I don't think if he was made into a movie, he would be that scary. Like, he's annoying, man. Richard Ramirez would be a pretty creepy one. Although I've always thought he put a lot of shit on for show. Like he played up into the satanic panic of the 80s. He really played into it. Cats wrote, question, can I come with you to New Orleans? I want to visit spooky shit. Everybody can go to New Orleans. Like, we'll get a whole big group of people going to New Orleans someday. That would be rad. Get a bunch of us to meet up in New Orleans. I think that would be awesome. Question from Dark Horizons. Have you been to any really haunted places and or spend the night in one? I used to live in a place that I don't know. I honestly don't know if I believe completely in ghosts. I don't know exactly what it is. I think I've talked about this before. I don't know if ghosts are spirits of people that have died. But whatever a ghost is, there is definitely something to it. I don't know like what it is, right? But I do know there is something to the whole spirit kind of thing, because I just don't know if there are people that died, you know, it's kind of soul. But I lived in a house that had so many weird things happen, and it was a pretty old house, and it had this really weird, creepy ass concrete basement, and there was one corner in it that everybody that went into that corner just straight up said it was the most evil thing they had ever experienced. Like to the point where like people would scream. Like I remember we were all drinking, and this one guy, like they were like basically had this girl go stand in this corner, and she freaked the fuck out and started screaming, and they were like trying to calm her down. She was like, I want out of this house, I want out of this house, I want out of this house. Like she had to leave. Like there was something really, really creepy about just that house in general. And there were so many things that happened in that house. Like from middle of the night, everybody is for sure asleep, and I'm sitting there watching TV and hearing someone walking down the hall. And it happened so many times, and I would jump up and run down the hall and see if anybody was awake. There was no one awake. There's only me, my ex-wife, and our kid, and they were sound asleep. And these are heavy footsteps, and there is no way either of them would have been able to get back in bed before I jumped in the hall, because it's only like a few feet away from me. But there was so many things like that. Like one day I'm sitting there and these pans come flying across the room. They're on top of the fridge like a cookie sheet, and it comes flying across the other side of the kitchen. Like just wild stuff like that. Like coming out in the living room or in the kitchen, and all the cupboard cabinets would be open. So that house was very creepy, and a lot of people. My sister, it was her house, and she lived there before me, and she swears or swore that there was haunted too. Like, and then I've seen quite a few things I can't explain. I just don't know what they are. And then when I was young, I would have been like, oh, it's a ghost for sure. And like now, it's kind of like with aliens, right? Like, is it an alien from another planet? I don't know. But I do know, like, it's a UFO, if that makes sense. It's like, I do know there's paranormal. There's something that can't be explained. But I don't know if it is, like, most people or, like a lot of the, paranormal researchers say that it's someone that's passed on spirit. I don't know if I buy into that. I don't know if I believe that. I also don't know if I believe in the whole demon and angel thing either. I feel like there's something, like there's a lot of things we don't understand. And I feel like in those cases, we're kind of a ways off from what is actually going on with all that. Yeah, BTK was super fucked up in the head, man. A very, very creepy guy. All right. Question from Joe Running. Would you rather have to go through one of Jigsaw's tests or pick up the phone in the ring for 7 days? I would definitely rather go through one of Jigsaw's puzzles, because even though most people died, it is possible to beat him. A few people did beat his test, whereas, you don't live. Like 7 days, you're dead. Everybody dies after the 7 days. So they're both bad situations, though. All right, question from Filth. Do you believe aliens and Sasquatch? 100% believe in aliens. Do I think that they are visiting the planet? I don't know. Do I think they've visited in the past? There's a good chance, but I don't know. But I definitely believe there are other forms of life in the universe. It is way too big, like Carl Sagan talked about. It's just, there's no way there's not other life out there in the universe. It just may not have come here yet. But there's something going on right now. Like, there's 100% unexplained flying objects and unexplained something that every government has come out with and acknowledged now. I mean, you can't even argue it anymore. It's just a question of, is it aliens or what is it? And it's not a technology or anything that we understand on this planet. It's not done by people. It could be a natural thing that we don't understand. I don't know, but there's some crazy stuff. This story that's coming out right now, this whistleblower guy, like really high up military guy, or not military, really high up intelligence guy, comes out and says point blank that we have these spaceships, period. And it's hard to even dispute this guy because he's such a big deal. Like, you can't, and even the government isn't coming out and saying that he's not telling the truth. Like, it's a crazy story. I don't know all the details, but it's just crazy. I have one son, and he is 28, I believe, now. There's nothing scary about Ed Gein. Ed Gein was just a mentally ill guy. Like, it's really actually kind of sad. Like, Ed Gein has been made into something like much more than what he really was. You know, he didn't even kill that many people. You know, and it was just really a sad, like it's a sad situation where people didn't pay attention, and he was basically alone in the world, and no one took care of him, and he really should have been like getting mental help like way before he did. It's just the scene was so grisly and gruesome that it's inspired so many of our fictional horror villains and whatnot. But it's not really based on what Ed Gein was like. It's more based on what the scene and everything looked like, because it was just human bodies made into fucking furniture. You know, it's a really gruesome, you know, situation. If you could, all right, question from Joe Running. If you could bring any fictional slasher and bring them into the real world, who would you choose? Why would I want to bring any fictional slasher into the real world? Man, they're slashers. They're going to kill a bunch of people. Like, I don't want a bunch of people dying. Yeah, I have no desire to bring any monsters. We have enough monsters that really exist already. You know, I have a need to bring another one into it. Is Tommy the best drummer you've ever had? Big Bad Wolf. Is is that Tommy Poles? I thought you had a different name. Did you change your name, Tommy? Tommy Poles was a hell of a drummer. I haven't seen him play drums in a long time, though. My sister does cleansings all the time. She actually just saged the house the other day because me and her have been dealing with so much anxiety about money and health and just all kinds of shit. Like, we're both up against it right now. I don't know why, but it's just been really tough last couple months. And so she actually cleansed the house the other day. Like, she does that pretty regularly. Let's see. Cats wrote question. It's not a question, but I want to visit haunted places around the U.S. for Halloween. I want to find a thing. I want to find a thing that the characters in Hell House 2 went to. The haunted marathon looked badass. I don't remember what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure I've seen Hell House 2. Oh my god, I lived in a house like that in West Sacramento. Holy shit, you live in West Sac, or lived in West Sac? That's like not far. I've lived in West Sac. That's not far from where I live now. Oh, or where I did live. Now I moved out towards Roseville area, but yeah, there's a lot of weird haunted areas in Sacramento area. It's pretty cool. And then Sasquatch, because I talked about aliens. I don't really know if I buy into Sasquatch. I feel like there are definitely lots of creatures we don't know about yet that do exist, but I don't know if I believe in Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Orion Pendek is the one that I think there's the best chance of being a real thing, because it's such a small little ape-like figure, and it's in Indonesia, and like the areas it's in are so hard to even get into to research, and some really big time zoologists and stuff have seen it and personally have seen this thing and said it exists. So I think there's a good chance that one exists, but that's like a really small little ape-like thing. But as far as the Bigfoots at this point, I'm not really buying it, because everybody's got a camera on them now. Like, everybody that can capture really quality evidence, and yet to this point we still only have these really fuzzy bullshit things that are like, rarely do I see one that I even think there's a possibility in hell could be real. Most of them are just so phony. So I don't know, but I'm always open minded to everything. I don't ever like to close my mind off to anything and be like, that does not exist. Because whenever you close your mind off like that, I guarantee you're going to be wrong. Because life is always changing, things are always different than what you think they'll be. Brett Walker, a mysterious benefactor gives you $10 million to complete your vision of the ultimate horror movie. Would you do it? What or would you eliminate or what emulate, if anyone, and what subgenre? So if I had $10 million to make a movie, I would make $10 million movies. I would find 10 young filmmakers that are just kind of getting out of college, just getting rolling, have some really, I don't even care if they've gone to college, but have made some short films and some really creative projects, and I would do 10 different projects, because there's so many talented filmmakers and artists out there that don't even get a chance to really show what they're capable of. And we've seen some amazing stuff done with $1 million or less. I mean, honestly, I could take 500,000 probably and make an amazing movie with it. So that would be all I cared about. And I wouldn't even care if the movies were all that good, just to help other artists out there to be able to get rolling. And then I would love to kind of just give my 2 cents, oversee them. I would love to have one. I would have to have at least one that had to do with Lovecraftian cosmic horror, especially if I could find someone that could do a really like a great Cthulhu concept of some kind. I would love to have something that was very witchcrafty and like folk horror. And then the other one, I would love to do something to do with mystery and like crime horror. I always think is really cool. But mostly I would just want people that were creative and could just to let them be free to make a movie. Rusted Leaf. Yes, I watch a lot of YouTube. YouTube is the main thing I watch because my attention span is always so frazzled, especially when I'm really stressed out. So I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm always watching things because it informs me as a creator. I'm always coming up with ideas that way, like just seeing different skill sets and things that can be done. But it also, like I said, I have really bad case of ADHD, and it just helps me kind of. I always have to be doing something, and always have to be, Mahala rules. Who is Big Bad Wolf? Who is that? Backlash. Okay, is that maybe it's Josh Phillips? Did you change your name, Josh? Because they know like all the bands I've been in, whoever it is. Question: can we look up any of your songs? Yeah, look up Mahala. Mahallah. So that's Mahallah. And there's still quite a few songs available for Mahala. But I think that's the only one you can really find anything. Graven Image has one music video. If you look up Graven Image, Hands Around Your Neck on YouTube, you'll find my music video that I did long time ago. But there's also like some live performances of Mahala on YouTube. I wish I could find more like Redlock. Redlock had a couple, like we had one demo, it was just 3 songs recorded, but they were some of my favorite songs I've done. But I don't have anywhere to find those. But Mahala was the one I did the most recorded songs with, and Graven Image did quite a bit too. I don't know why there's no Graven Image online. I really need to track down a way to get some of those songs. Matt Wingington, is your art similar to Bob Ross? Yeah, someone asked me a long time ago, like, what's your art like? Is it like Bob Ross? And I was like, I'm no fucking Bob Ross. And then that just kind of, something I started using just kind of stuck. Question, have you watched my channel? No, I don't think I have. Opening things. I like your name though, opening things. Like, it's such a simple but direct idea for a name. I think that's great. Remind me in a comment on a video because I would like to check out your channel. I can't, of course, right now. Weird question. Favorite board game as a kid? Risk. I still love Risk. I wish I had a crew of people to play Risk. We used to have these games that went on for months and months, and like we would set a board up, play, and then like literally write down where all the moves were, have multiple games going at once. Like, I loved Risk, especially Castle Risk. I was like, I've always been a big fan of strategic, strategy stuff. I love Clue as well. Question, do you like Japanese or German bands? I like some of both, but off the top of my head, I can't think of. I just like music I like. It doesn't matter where they're from. A lot of times it's like there's this great band here, and you don't even realize like where they're from. So, but I speak English, so pretty much any band I listen to is English speaking. I don't know if I really listen to. My sister listens to a lot of Asian music. She's learning Mandarin, and so she actually listens to a lot of Chinese bands and stuff. But me, I don't really listen to much outside of English speaking. But it doesn't have to be a band from the United States, just simply speaking English. Like, I love all kinds of music though. I've never really been outside of the U.S. I went to Canada as a kid for a little bit, and I've been to Mexico, but that's it. That's the goal before I die, is to get to travel around the world and see some places, and so that I can actually tell someone what other country I love besides the United States. Yeah, I actually have Risk on my phone. It's one of the games I play on my phone. I just found this bubble popping game that's really addictive too. Like, it's such a simple concept, but it's really challenging because there's such a limited amount of moves, and you got to try to pop all the bubbles. Games like that help me when I have lots of anxiety because it's like something to just mindless that just like kind of take your mind off of shit you're dealing with. Because like as excited as I am about these sponsors, it's something I've been really stressed about too. Because it's like just having meeting on Zoom and like it's just a different thing than I've ever dealt with before. I have like timelines and then I still have to try to coordinate because I don't want to not upload a video to you guys, but it's like they have a deadline they need their in. So like the one Wednesday, I'm hoping to still get it done, and like I'm gonna probably post the video tomorrow for patrons and channel members to watch early, like I always do. But then I'm gonna have to post a second version of the video that has the promo in it if I get it done in time, because I'm still waiting on them to send me the product, and it's just a stressful thing. So like silly little games like that really help with that. I don't really drink, but if I did, I would definitely drink pirate rum. I love pirates, man. I think there's just I've always been attracted to the idea of pirates. I think more than real pirates is the idea of pirates. I don't think there is any one country that doesn't make great horror movies, like of any of the major ones. Like, there's been amazing horror movies all over the world in the last like 10 years. Geek question: ever play D&T? I wish I did. To be like completely honest, I really wish I had grown up with D&D, but my mom, like I talked about before, was a religious like cult type of crazy shit, and We didn't even, get video games at all. I didn't get really movies at all. I didn't have any friends. Like, we were taught at home. I didn't go to school. And so I didn't even really hear about what D&D was until I was kind of too old for it. And then a few times I've thought about trying it as an adult, but I just have never really had a circle of friends that, I don't know, like clicked with. And like my ex-wife and her husband, I think, play it. So I've thought about going and trying it. But it's weird trying to learn things like that as an adult as well. Ghost Pirate Entertainment, if you have ADHD going on, not saying you don't, how do you watch and review all the horror movies, by the way? You're pretty good at it. It's hard. It's a challenge. And the thing is, like, I've had it my whole life. So it's kind of like Dylan and I. It's like people asking me, how do you drive? And it's like, I don't know, like with one eye, like that's normal to me. I've never had two eyes. So it's like the ADHD thing. Like a lot of times I'll have to have multiple things going on at once. So I'll be watching a movie while I'm playing like this stupid little bubble popping game, or more than that. Usually I'm working on a thumbnail, and so I like have multiple things going on. A lot of times I'll have to pause a movie in the middle of it, and I have to also pick a certain time frame, and I have to be at a certain, like my anxiety levels and things have to be at a certain level to be able to do it. Because I'm just like way overactive and way overstimulated. So generally, I have to watch movies earlier rather than later. By the evening time, I'm so worked up I can't like focus on a movie. But like early in the day when I just wake up, that's when I like kind of get on a roll and I can have a movie day. A lot of it is about routine and schedule. So I have like tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Sunday will be a movie day where I won't let myself do anything but watch movies. So as long as I get started early, I could just kind of put myself into that way. But a lot of times it's just about trying to fit them in when I can. Like this morning, I was feeling calm enough to watch a movie, so I ended up watching 2 movies earlier today. But it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's really tricky sometimes. Um, but I love it so much that I tell people with anything, right? If you care about something and you want to do something bad enough, there's always a way. You just have to work with what you're given, like work with your skill sets, your way of doing things. And so like you just gotta, instead of kind of like, I think a lot of times we get this mindset of we can't do something because we don't have this or whatever. Instead of, it needs to be the other way of, I have these things. How do I do this? And so with most things, I try to look at what is the end game? Like, what am I trying to accomplish? And then, okay, these are my obstacles. How do I move these things around to be able to do that? Instead of, because you never know. Like, a lot of times you're never going to get a perfect scenario or a perfect setup or, like, especially once you reach your 40s, like I am, you are what you are. Like, you're only gonna be able to change so much or learn so much or whatever. You kind of gotta just be you and make the best out of the cards you're dealt. I had a 9 to 5 for many, many years doing different things. I taught art for a while. I did custom cabinetry for a while. I delivered pizzas for a long time. But most recently, I managed a movie theater. And then I started having some issues there, and then some health issues, and this, that, and the other. And so now I do this full time. And that's why the sponsor is such a huge deal. So once again, if you're new or if you're just jumping on and you haven't heard yet, I'm excited to announce that I officially have my first legit sponsor, and I really need you guys to help me out. There's a link that I pinned, that pinned comment. Go there. It's $1.99. You got to stick with it for 10 minutes, do a reading or whatever, 10 minutes. Don't do it longer than that. Just do the 10 minutes for $1.99, and then I get credit, and I will get some money to me from there. And between that and the ad revenue, fingers crossed, I'll be able to, like, eventually be able to have a car again that's mine, and buy food and pay my sister rent. Because right now I'm literally using her car, living in her apartment. Like, it is not it sucks. Like, and that's I'm working really hard to, you know, I don't know. It's frustrating. Like sometimes get my head down about it, but because 2020 I just went, like whole life, lost my apartment, lost my fiance, lost my car, lost my job, lost the ability to do art because my hands, like I can't bend this finger more than that. Like my hands are just, yeah. Anyway, it just gets me down thinking about all that stuff. But that's why I started doing this and found what I'm supposed to be doing now and what I'm passionate about now. And thanks to you guys, we're having fun and creating something really special, I think. I've never done skydiving. I have done bungee jumping and I've done the reverse bungee where you start on the ground and they shoot you up. I wanted to go skydiving and just never could afford it. And then now, like, I have such a like horrible fear of heights now. Like, when I gotta fly is awful. I just sit there and think, if I survive this, I'm never gonna fly again. Like, I hate flying, but in order to do the things you want to do, you have to kind of just deal with it and overcome it. Question from Joe. Ugh. Question from Joe. Have you ever had an opportunity to play the tabletop RPG Call of Cthulhu? No, but I've wanted to. That sounds so much fun. I've heard the video game, but I didn't know there was a board game. I love board games. It's like kind of becoming this lost thing that less and less people do, and it's kind of a shame. Like I love video games too, but I wish that people would still play board games. Question from Jack: what is your process for picking or watching movies? At this point, there's so many different things that are involved in the movies I watch and the movies I pick and whatever, because I get a lot of recommendations from you guys. I get recommendations from a bunch of different podcasts I listen to. I get recommendations from some channels. Very few. Most of the other horror channels talk about kind of the just the mainstream stuff, the stuff that you kind of hear on the surface. But there are some times, like Spooky Astronaut, she talks about some stuff I've never heard of, and she's helped me find some movies before. I find them through people that post things on Twitter. I find movies from, I find a lot of movies actually from, I lost my train of thought. From like just reading the horror news. Like, you'll hear about a movie in production and then you just kind of keep up with it. And then once it comes out, I'll check it out. I have a long, long, long list of all these different movies I've heard of in one shape or another that I want to check out. And so whenever it's time, like right now, I'm starting to working on the next list. I think it's going to be Netflix, even though it's kind of premature because I'm going to have to really scrape the bottom of the barrel to find 10, I think, on Netflix right now. But I think it's what I'm going to do. But I basically start with just scanning through it and see if a couple jump out at me. And if there's at least 2 or 3 that jump out at me, then I'll kind of do another pass and dig a little deeper and then be like, okay, I wanted to watch this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, I have seen this one and I definitely want to recommend this, and that kind of thing until I have about half of a list done, and then I start watching movies. And so if I have at least 4 or 5, that's generally when I'll start on that as my next list, and then I'll watch however many it takes. Sometimes I have to watch 20 movies to get that last 5, but I also don't watch movies all the way to completion a lot of times. I'll start a movie, watch it for about 20 minutes, and if I'm just not feeling it, like it doesn't mean it's a bad movie, but just not a movie I'm going to want to recommend you guys. Like there's been so many movies, like a bunch of movies over the last couple of years that I'm like, this was still entertaining, it was all right. It's just not a movie that I feel deserves to be on one of the lists. Or there was just 10 other ones I wanted to talk about more, and it just didn't make the cut or whatever. But yeah, and then until I get to the 10, and then once I have the 10, then I I write my notes. I don't write a script, but I write notes, and the notes are the first part of the movie that I talk about. So look, it's just who directed it, who stars in it, the basic synopsis, that kind of thing, and then the rest I just talk, and then yeah. Oh, super thanks from LAFC Beast. Thank you. You are the man. How did you come up with all your catchphrases? Horror can be fun. Let's get to the list. I highly, highly, highly. I never really thought of them as catchphrases until they just kind of were. Like they were just things that I said, and then it's one of those really interesting things about when you do this, because you do it enough, and you just start to. There's certain things you just kind of notice you say, and you're like, the only one that I did actually purposely make was horror can be fun at the end. Actually put thought into, because I think most YouTube channels open their videos and close their videos in the same way. It's just kind of your signature. And I wanted my channel, like literally horror can be fun. It means so much, and it really is kind of what this channel represents. It's like what I wanted the community and everything to be. It's an idea. The idea of that you don't have to take it so serious. You don't have to tear everything apart. You don't have to like everything has to be the greatest thing ever done. You know what I mean? Like you have to just, or like you could just enjoy it. Sorry, I got distracted. My tablet lit up. Like sometimes you can just have fun, right? Like sometimes it's okay to enjoy life, So that's kind of where the idea of horror can be fun comes from. Because it's like I just see so many kind of elitist mindsets of like, oh, this movie isn't that, or just like constantly every movie that comes out, I see so many people just tearing it apart and like only talking about the negative, only, and it's like, well, what about the stuff you did like in the movie? Can you watch? There's one guy, I won't mention his name, but there's one guy on Facebook, and I don't go on Facebook much, but he's someone who is a friend of mine. But I swear to God, every single movie comes out, he writes a thing and just talks like hates everything. And I'm like, I've asked him numerous times, like, do you like any movie? Like, is there any movie that you have fun with, that you enjoy? Like, do you ever smile? So it's that, but it's also, it wasn't meant to be like a knock on anybody either. It's just more of kind of meant to be as like a reminder of like, it's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to enjoy horror movies. It's okay to have fun, guys. So, but like a lot of them, they just kind of organically happen, and they're just me, they're just kind of like part of who I am. So it's, yeah. So anyway, any other questions out there? Let's see, scrolling back, see if I missed any. The way it skips all over, I'm sure I missed some. So if you asked one a while ago, it's fine to ask it again. I just don't want anybody saying the same question over and over and over. Question, have you ever... Oh, I read that one. I wish I could get a hold of Adderall. Like, it's just such a pain to get prescriptions, and it's one of the goals I have. I have a potential sponsor, hopefully a little later on down the road. Like, that's part of why this one's important, is because of if I do good on this, what it could lead to. But there's this other one that deals with mental health. That would be really cool, because I'd be able to get some free, see some mental health people for free. It would really help me out a lot. Okay. Kanan, I know things have been tough, but think of what you do for all of us. It honestly is, it's what gets me through. I had someone I was talking to recently, and he was like, "How do you deal with?" Because if I went into all the details of everything that's went on, like especially in 2020, you would be like, "Holy shit!" But and it's whatever. I'm not at all trying to be like pity party you fucking Kanan. Like I hate that. That's not at all the way I want to be seen. That's not at all the way I want to be. But he was like, "How did you, how do you deal with it? How did you get through it all? Like, how are you still going or whatever?" And I told him it's like it's because it's all about serving others, man. It's like you just got to find what you can do that helps people, and like on whatever level. Like you could, there's lots of people that think what I do here is I can't talk, is insignificant, and that's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm not. It's not up to me to decide how important it is what I'm doing here and how important this channel is or not. That's not up to me. It's up to everybody else. But I do know that even if it's just on the tiniest little bit that I can help your day out, that I can give you something to watch when you get home and saves you a few minutes from having to scroll through, because that's where the whole idea of this channel came from, was just me thinking, how can I help people? Because I was sitting there in 2020 and it was just maddening scrolling through these streaming services and having no idea what to watch. And because there's like you only have so much time in the day a lot of times too, when you're getting on, my nose is itching, when you get home from work and you're just tired and you just don't want to sit there and scroll. And so I was like, maybe I could just help a little. And so that's all I ever try to do, is if I can just help a little. I don't know how much I help, but it's important to me that I at least do something, do my part in this life, to help others with what I have, and it's like no matter what you don't have, I guarantee you there are things you still do have. And so, like I was talking about a minute ago, like you gotta work with what you have. And this is all I had to work with. I literally had my phone and my hands, kind of. I was bedridden at the time because I was dealing with this thing. They're still trying to figure out what exactly it is. I've got it for the most part under control. It's kind of like acid reflux-ish type of thing, but I was literally throwing up every morning and like couldn't hold down any food for a big chunk of 2020. And that was when they ended up having to amputate my big toe because the infection I ended up getting infected. I wasn't healing. Long, gruesome story, but so all I did have was just my phone and time. I was like literally laying there. I couldn't make my art anymore, and so I was like, man, I know there's a lot of people locked down too that are bored and don't know what to do and don't know what to watch. And so I started making these lists, and it's really you guys. Like you guys are the ones that are pushing this and making it into something. And like I just work hard and just trying to do the best I can with this. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. At the end of the day, it's just fun. Thank you, Phil. Question: were the amount of your highlies purposely created? Yeah, kinda. My highlies were once again something that, like, I didn't intend it to be a rating system really, but I also noticed that when I would get really excited about something, instead of just saying I highly recommend it, I would be like, I highly, highly recommend it, when I would be extra excited about it. And then once I realized that I was doing that, and then I added the third. So basically it's a highly recommend is a movie that I genuinely highly recommend. Like, you really should watch it. Highly, highly is like one that you cannot miss. It's like a must see. And then a highly, highly, highly recommend is literally like a classic. Like, if you're a fan of horror, there is no way you cannot at least give it a chance. Like, it's kind of one of those where highly is most people will like it. Highly, highly is the majority, or some people will like a highly recommend. The majority of people will like a highly, highly, and everyone that calls himself a fan of horror, at the very least, should check it out. That's kind of how my brain thinks of it. But like once again, it was an organic thing. It was never a manufactured thing. I don't like too many things like that you can't really control. They just kind of happen. It's like a lot of things that are still to come. I know, like you just kind of got to read the tea leaves. I have to just kind of, like merchandise and things like that I want to make. You can't force it, and like it's just like with the sponsor thing. Like for a while, I was like, I wonder how I'll ever, like, how do you even figure out how to get sponsors? And I still don't know. They just started approaching me, and all of a sudden, just recently, I've had interest, and luckily, the ones that have contacted me, I feel like are pretty good fits and things that I actually think are legit. Like, with this Keen, I didn't really know if that was a good fit. I thought it was a really cool thing, and I've always been open to it. And like my sister is in, and my ex like into psychic phenomena and things like that, and I've always been super open to it, but I just didn't really know if it was legit or whatever. And once I went and tried it out myself, I was like, this is really cool. Like I don't think you even have to be into it to make it worth giving a shot and seeing what you think, especially for with my link $1.99 and the fact that it really helps this channel out. Like you don't understand how much it's going to help this channel. Like it's a big deal. Because it's kind of more of like an affiliate than it is a normal sponsor. Like a normal sponsor, like this other one I have that's coming up, they just give you a chunk of money and then you do like a commercial based and you put in a video. But an affiliate one, like the Keen one, it's every time one of you completes the 10-minute, gets a full 10-minute reading for the $1.99, you complete the whole 10-minute part, then I get a kickback every single time someone does that. And one of them, it's like, okay, but if you have, once they start to add up, like every month, a couple people do it, it really will help this channel. So that one is what I'm really excited about, because it's like, I can give you a link on here. I can put it a little ad in a video, like, but I also think it's a fun thing that you guys, I think, would enjoy. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's fine. And I'm not telling everybody you have to go do this. Like, I just think it's a cool thing, and it's for $1.99. Like, I had never tried it out. I had never tried an online psychic type of thing before, and I like it because there's the anonymity of hiding behind your screen. You can say whatever to them, and they only know what you tell them. And you can get on a phone call. Like, they do have a phone, but I didn't even do that. You could just text. It's way easier, and I just liked all that. So you can tell them and ask them whatever embarrassing kind of thing you want without having to feel like anybody really is going to know. So, like, because I don't ever want to not be genuine with you guys and honest and tell you guys, like, my thought process. And, like, I'm not trying to get rich at all off of you guys. I really just want this to become something really special, because I feel like horror fans deserve it. Like, there's not enough people out there doing this kind of thing and building communities, and like the idea of taking you guys on the road and doing lists, and there's not channels doing that. Like, I just want to make content that's the kind of thing that I want to see. Dave Sipple asked, what are your favorite or easier streaming sites to find good horror for your shows? Shudder, Prime, Netflix, Hulu, Tubi, etc. Tubi's the easiest, because like I can make a Tubi list every single week, and I would if it wasn't that I think the views would start really going down if I did it every single week. So it's important to kind of mix them up. But I can always find movies on Tubi, because there's so many movies that are like kind of obscure but that are still good. Shudder's the same way. I can always find, like, not as easily, of course, like, but there's still the ones that are tough. Is Netflix is so tough, and so is Amazon, and yet those are the ones that get the most views. So those are why I need to always make those ones. But man, they're hard because they just don't add new stuff that often. Thank you, Filth. it censored your comment because you said fucking, but I tried to uncensor. I don't know if it's going to show it, but if you could make any movie, what would it be? I would love to see a really well done Cthulhu movie. It blows my mind that no one has, like, Underwater was the closest I had seen to something that was well made, you know, a Hollywood-ish budget, that did something with it. It still wasn't like a perfect movie, but. Question: have you ever considered combing through YouTube? I comb through YouTube constantly, every day. On the lives, I'm trying to figure out how to do a screen share so that I can do that. Like, I just got to do more research. I just figured out this week how to set up the OBS like this so you guys could see the logo and the graphics and make it look a little better. So I'm gonna keep working on that. I just figured out how to do the movie night, which is tomorrow night. So once again, tomorrow night we're doing a movie night, but you got to be a member, either a channel member or a patron on Patreon. And I'll post a link tomorrow morning, and it's on Discord. So just go and find Ghost Pirate Entertainment on Discord, and then I'll post the link, and you just simply go to that link. But you got to be one of those to see the link, because I'm going to make it to where only members and patrons can see the link. But if that goes good and I get good enough at doing that, then eventually I'll do some movie nights for everybody. But the trouble with doing a movie night for everyone is that it has to be like a public domain movie too. And there's just not a ton of movies that are public domain. I mean, there are, but they're all like super old. And so like this way I can actually pay or play like newer movies if you're a patron and you're through Discord. So anyway, so yeah, definitely go over to Patreon and sign up. You can sign up on Patreon for as little as $1. And then it really kind of puts you in the loop. And it helps me out a ton. Not just the money part, but having more people that are really inside of that circle. Because I'm getting more and more like feeding off you guys, like asking the patrons questions. And, you know, I need to get the channel members involved in it more too. But the way Patreon is set up, it's a lot easier for me to take polls and to ask ask specific things and ideas from the patrons. And so that's why I really want people to sign up for Patreon. It's not about the money, because like I said, you can literally sign up for as little as $1. So it's not so much about that. It's more about just having that really small, tight community over there. Mark wrote, question: Netflix watch for Little Evil. It's an omen. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. I think I will watch that. Like I said, I got to put together my list over there, and I think I still need to find like 6 more movies. So I got my work cut out for me. But I have found a couple. Yeah, A24 is working on the Crystal Lake series, and I can't wait. Like, I'm really excited about it. Hopefully it's good. But yeah, I can't wait. All right, I'm about to wrap this up. Does anybody else have any pressing questions before I wrap it up? Yeah, Tim Robles, that's pretty much accurate on how added to your list. Yeah, I would say that's about the ranking. There's one below added to your list, and that would be I think you would enjoy, or something along those lines. That would be rank 1, and then add to your list would be rank 2, and then rank 3 would be highly, rank 4 would be highly, or rank 5, I mean. Yeah. Like, I don't really think about it, but I do at the same time. It's hard to even explain, because it's based on how I'm feeling about something in the moment. I haven't seen Suicide Forest Village. I heard that's a good movie. There's that movie, The Forest, that deals with the Suicide Forest as well. But I've heard Suicide Forest Village is a good movie. I'm trying to remember where I saw that streaming. What do you use to put graphics on your videos and live streams? Well, it's different things. The live streams, like right now, I'm using OBS. Eventually, I want to use StreamYard, but it's like $10 a month, and I already, you know. But in the next month or so, I'll probably switch to StreamYard because it gives you the ability to do a lot more, and it's easier, more user friendly, and whatnot. But OBS is free, so that's what I'm using right now. For editing, I do all my editing on my phone using VideoShop, and then I kind of go for the audio. I go between the laptop, between my Mac, and the phone to I basically use the two in combination to finalize the video. Because there's some things I need the computer for, and some things I do on the phone. The way my hands are, though, I can't do a lot of this. So that's why the phone works for editing, because it's just my thumb. Because I have like really severe carpal tunnel. I don't know if you can see it, but I've had a couple surgeries, 3 right here on this hand. And then they want to do it to this one, because see how I can't straighten that finger out? And when I wake up in the morning, it's literally like a claw like this. And I have to like pop the fingers. It's painful. It sucks. But I don't know if and when I'm going to get that surgery, because the last time I did it with this one, it had got infected and I almost lost this hand. Question, who is your favorite Stooge? Man, it's been so many years since I watched the Three Stooges. Probably Curly. I definitely don't like hold on. I think Moe's the one that is the dick, right? He's the black-haired, like, cut. He's the dick. I don't like him. I like the guy with the curly hair. Or, I mean, not the guy with the curly hair. The bald guy. He reminded me of my grandpa. All right, guys. That's going to wrap it up for today. I need to go get some food. Or make some food. Once again, check out that link that I pinned. But I'm also going to put like a little promo so I can show you more of what it's about in a video coming up soon. And then also, like I mentioned, I'm trying to raise some money for this Sunday so that I can go to Sinister Creature Con. It's the first convention that's come near me since I've been able to really doing this channel in a while. I couldn't go last year for various reasons, so I want to go and meet my friend Boogeyman Ben. Definitely go check his channel out, Boogeyman Ben. His channel is a collection. He's amazing, but I'm going to meet him there hopefully. And I don't need to raise a lot of money, but just a little bit of money so I can afford to get in, maybe afford to get something to eat, and just not be embarrassed because I don't have any money. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm just trying to be honest. But I'm going to do a live stream from there. At least that's the plan. I have my little handheld microphone thing, and I'm going to go there and at least kind of show you guys around a little bit. And we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll meet like a celebrity. I don't know. I'm not really trying to meet anybody, but like, who knows what happens. Like, either way, it would just be cool to hang out and show you guys what the best horror convention in Sacramento looks like. So, but anyway, if you want to help me out, there's my links for PayPal and Venmo at the bottom of the screen right over there. And no matter what, just watching this, that support is all I need. Like, you guys really are amazing, and I genuinely mean that. I just want to take you guys on the road. Like, right now I'm broke, but eventually with the sponsors and things, I'll be able to do more, and that's the goal of the channel, is to go on the road and meet you guys, but also take you guys with me. Maybe eventually when I get into like some cool premieres, or who knows, the sky's the limit on what this channel can accomplish with you guys. So, but anyway, that's it for today, and the movie night's tomorrow night, so I'm sure I'll see some of you guys there. But like always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, horror can be fun. I'll see you guys next time.